One of the big problems that I face as a real estate coach and as a real estate agent is when a really good marketing idea comes on board, right? We've been talking a lot recently from the Success Summit at Ferry about the Zillow Zestimate campaign. I just recently launched a video about the home value digital farming campaign. So what happens when an agent gets a hold of a great marketing idea, something that we could really generate a lot of great conversations with homeowners and listings and so on and so forth? The problem that I see is the execution and the implementation. So let's break these two things down when we're talking about a real estate agent's marketing plan. Execution. So we take this great concept of this one message. Hey, your Zillow Zestimate is blank, or Zillow Zestimate's accuracy is blank, or I've noticed that the Zillow Zestimate accuracy is blank. I have my opinion. What's yours? Would you like to chat this week about it? Pretty good message, very on point, very relevant to what's happening today with homeowners. So we take that message, which absolutely creates lots of conversation, lots of interaction. So let's break down, what do we do in execution, and then we'll move to implementation. Execution, well, should we create, and this is how we have to think about it, should we create a blog post about how accurate is the Zillow Zestimate in your city? Yeah, good idea. Should we create a video? Sure, but when we say video, what are we talking about? Are we talking about LinkedIn, short, long form, live? See, this is where the problem breaks down. So when I ask my coaching clients, or I look even for myself, how should I create this video? Well, the video needs to be, we want to probably create something short for maybe YouTube, for Instagram Reel, for Facebook Stories. Good idea. So, how do we do that? And then how do we actually plan that out? Then I also probably want to go long form on how accurate is the Zillow Zestimate in my area, and maybe show some examples and some case studies. And that long form could also be converted into a blog post. Good idea. But also there is Google Business Profile, which is generating huge amounts of seller opportunities today for those of you that are working on it. And then there's also email marketing. Well, what are we going to do about that? Then there's also text messages. That's a good idea. And there's the one that we always forget, which is ringless voicemail, right? And then there's probably some type of letter to a geographic farm. Maybe there's some message to a just sold, of a recent sold. So we actually have all of these execution points with all of these different platforms and with all of these different mediums. So this is where I think the problem lies, is we've got a really powerful message that creates really good conversations with our perfect target audience, homeowners. But the problem is we're not executing and maxing out all of the different ways and channels and platforms. And even me right now, I forgot. What about LinkedIn, right? So you could see that there's so many different ways that we could get this one message executed out into the marketplace, create huge amounts of responses, build a really nice pipeline for future sellers. So this is one of the big problems that I see that we all need to fix, which is how do we, when we get a really good idea, how do we go down a list of executable platforms and strategies and mediums to be able to maximize the opportunity for ourselves? Now, a lot of my friends will say, this is a great project for a virtual assistant. Yes, I agree that this is a great project for a virtual assistant, but until you build some basic structure, some basic outline, you kind of walk through this process at least once for yourself and get at least a good draft on deck, then a virtual assistant, you couldn't share this video with them and they'd be like, I know exactly what to do for you. That's not going to work out. So if you build it at least one time and have an example of what you did and how you did it on each of these platforms with the one topic, now on the next time you go to a virtual assistant, you can say, here's the next great marketing idea, strategy, or tactic that we would like to apply. Here's an example of what I did in the past. Let's go see if we can execute this and help me make it more efficient, give me more time back. That would be a significantly better use of our time. Now, so that's just one example. How are you building your kind of marketing plan? And then keeping track of the next step to me in this is the size of the audience and what your goals are. So I've been challenging a lot of my coaching clients. We've got this really good seller seminar that we're working on. And I'm like, well, tell me how many audiences you have and what the size of those audiences are. And of course, I get a blank stare, which probably you're giving me that same stare right now. Like, what are you talking about? So let's just take a look at this. And I'd go, all right, well, how many people do you have in your past clients? How many people do you have in your center of influence, maybe on your phone? What about your total email database, right? So between past clients in your sphere and maybe some old leads and some old open house leads, what's the total email database? That's an audience size that we have access via just simple email, one-to-many, low cost. Then I go, okay, well, what's your total audience size on Facebook and what's your reach there organically? What's your audience size on Instagram organically? What's your audience size on LinkedIn organically? What's your audience size on YouTube Shorts? What's the average YouTube Short video view count that you're getting? What's your average long form YouTube that you're getting? What about on Google Business Profile? Have you been building up your interactions on Google Business Profile? What about on LinkedIn between an article versus a post? So you can see that actually the total audience size. I also even forgot, what about a blog post? Are you getting good view counts on blog post? So when we look at the total amount of audiences, we also look at platforms. That's a lot. So, wow. Oh my gosh, I have thousands of ability to take one message and to get it across in front of thousands of people in a variety of different ways. And again, I know that this is mostly overwhelming, but we have to get to work on the basic system and structure for you all to do this. Then the final piece for me is what's called implementation. Implementation is not execution. Implementation is, hey, this topic of the Zillow's estimate or the seller seminar or the home value digital farming strategy, Patrick, great. Implementation is, all right, I want to take this marketing plan that I kind of built out and I want to redo this again next year in this time of the year. And then, oh, by the way, I should probably do this, Zillow's estimate, how accurate, probably every March of every single year for the rest of my career. And then we would then now save all that content somewhere where it's in a basic, digital folder where you can tell a virtual assistant, hey, here's everything I did last year for the Zillow's estimate home value between Facebook and Instagram and this and that, Hey, let's go make all of that way better. Let's plan that out for this next March of 2024, and let's run that campaign, and let's put together a nice plan, and let's see if we can set some goals for selling consultations and building a pipeline for March of 2024. See, that is implementation. So, my friends, we have to work on the three things. How do you build a system and structure for execution on all the platforms? Number two, how do we start to keep track of the total audience size and your impact that you can make there and start setting some better goals there? And then last but not least, Save that plan for next year where we can execute it again and make it way better and make it more effective for you. So my friends, I look forward to catching up with you all soon. Let me know if I can help you with anything. Leave a comment down below, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and then I'll see you on the next episode.